It's it is what we call like our countryside. It's much nicer there. It opened in the 1920s. It was just a very small airport when it opened, and only has one runway. And last year, it had only 6,260,000 passengers that passed through. So it's a much nicer airport. If you're coming this way, try and use Gatwick Airport. We don't have a slide for it. There's a London City Airport, very small airport, usually for, they tend not to do many international flights, but and that actually is just inside London. So moving on to the City of London, which is our financial district. I don't know if you've heard of the Stock Exchange. The Stock Exchange is rather like your Wall Street, I think. Is that right, Teresa?
Yep, Wall Street.
Yeah. And so this is where all business is done. And everybody is in suits and they're walking very quickly and drinking lots of coffee and making lots of money. This is the City of London. So moving on to see, please. Yes, so Buckingham Palace. George III, he bought Buckingham Palace in 1761 for his wife, Queen Charlotte. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware, she was our first, what they call Black Queen, Queen Charlotte. And they try and keep it low key that she was biracial. She was of German descent, but she had African heritage. I've actually been to a castle in Edinburgh where they have portraits of all the monarchies, and the one that is missing is Queen Charlotte's. Anyone watching Bridgerton at the moment on Netflix? Anyone watching Bridgerton?
I did some months ago.
Oh, you did? Has anyone watched Bridgerton?
Yeah.
Well, the Queen that's featured in there is representing Queen Charlotte, King George III's wife. So he had it built, and he had it built, and now it is the home of our current Queen when she is resident in London. We've got the picture there. So that is the palace, and anyone can approach the palace up to those gates. I don't know if you can just see that the fence and the gates. The public can go up to there, and just beneath where the flag is, that's the balcony where when the Queen comes out, she comes out on that balcony there. You can see there's a flag flying there, and it's called the Royal Standard. And when it is up, as it is in that photo, it means that the Queen is in residence. When she's not there, it is lowered. The Queen, yes, now that is one of the the banqueting rooms. The palace has 775 rooms, 188 staff bedrooms, 78 bathrooms, which by American standards probably isn't enough, because I understand you tend to do a bathroom for every bedroom. Over 50,000 people visit the palace each year. And we've got a photo there of the Queen. To her, looking at the photo, to her left is Prince Charles and his wife Camilla. On the right of the Queen is her husband, who's now deceased. And then we have Prince William, who will inherit the throne after Prince Charles and his wife, Catherine. The Queen has 4 children, 8 grandchildren, and 12 great-grandchildren. Now, the 50,000 people that visit the palace each year usually go to garden parties, lunches, state banquets. We've now got a photo up of Obama and his wife when they visited in 2011. And the Queen, she's always entertaining foreign dignitaries at her palace. Moving on to Piccadilly Circus. Piccadilly Circus is at the end of one of the roads that we will look at later on, called Regent Street. Piccadilly Circus was built in 1819 to connect Regent Street with Piccadilly. And to the right, you will see a statue which is supposed to be of Eros. Eros is the god of love. It has lots of illuminated signs, as you can see in the photo. And there are always people there. It doesn't matter what time of the night you go, you will find people milling around, moving around. Our next slide is of Trafalgar Square. Now, Trafalgar Square, we can see there is a column there. We haven't got the full photo of the column, but it was built to commemorate Vice Admiral Horatio Nelson's victory at the Battle of Trafalgar over the French and the Spanish. Trafalgar Square is well known for having rallies and demonstrations there. And it used to, and we talked about this before, and Teresa and I remember the time when it was full of pigeons.
Yep.
Full of pigeons, and you would have sellers selling food to feed the pigeons all around Trafalgar Square. But they decided that the pigeon, the mess, their feces damaged the stone, and so we are forbidden to feed the pigeons now there. But yes, we can all go there. It's pedestrianized. There you can see there are fountains there. On hot days, people even get in the water to cool down. Covent Garden. Covent Garden used to be the fruit market in London and was built in the 1800s. It has now become a very popular place to visit, a very fashionable place to visit, where, as you can see, there's a lady there playing a piano. This is the kind of thing you will see at Covent Garden. There are many street entertainers there, entertaining freely, and for you to just give your donations if you like. But it has fancy restaurants there and fancy shops and fancy boutiques. And it is one of the places to go if ever you visit London. The Tower of London. The Tower of London was built as a fortress, and it is still there. It used to be a prison, and many a monarch has been imprisoned in the towers there. It became a palace. It is also a treasure vault and has been a private zoo in the past. The massive white tower that you can just see further away was built in 1708 by William the Conqueror. And the Tower of London actually contains the crown jewels. Have you heard about the crown jewels before? Anyone?
Mm-hmm.
The crown jewels is a collection.
I've seen them.
You've seen them? Oh, so you've been there. Okay, what can you remember? What can you remember?
They were in a glass case.
Yes.
And people were filing caskets. And also they, those steps are steep. I could
Yes.
walk a little bit better at that time. It hasn't, it's been only like maybe 8 years.
Since you were there.
And they had the beef eaters, the guys in the costumes walking around. It's
That's
very
right.
powerful.
That's right. Yes. So the beef eaters, they are the wardens of the Tower of London. They are the guard of the tower. And they used to be called the Black Princes. The Crown Jewels is a collection of treasures and over 23,000 gemstones. The Tower of London also used to have the Royal Mint. The Royal Mint was where money was made, and it used to be made in the Tower of London. A number of people have died, back in those days due to poisonous gases to do with the making of the money. And we've now moved on to the Tower of London. Oh yes, for almost 1,000 years, yes, at the heart of the state life in UK, is one of the most famous buildings in the world. And yes, moving on, HMS Belfast. HMS Belfast, as you can see, is a warship. And it was built for the Royal Navy, but it's now a museum. It used to be part of the naval blockade against Germany during the war. And it actually did hit a mine in 1939, and it took 2 years to repair. But HMS Belfast is very close to my heart, because when I was 14 years old, I was a Wren cadet. So, I don't know if you know what a Wren is. A Wren is one of the female members of the Royal Navy. And I was a cadet, and we used to meet on board there and do everything that we had to do. All I remember is making knots. And at 14 years old, making knots was very boring. But, it's an iconic place now to go and visit, a warship. Moving on to St. Paul's Cathedral. St. Paul's Cathedral was built, they used, prior to this church being there was another church there. But it burnt down with the fire of London. It burnt down in 1666. A fire started in a bakery and continued for days, burning down a lot of London. And the old church was burnt down. And then Sir Christopher Wren was commissioned to rebuild the church. And he started it in 1699, and it was financed by putting a tax on coal that people would use to make fires. They put a tax on it, and that's how they raised the funds to build the cathedral. During World War II, it was bombed and but rebuilt. I've been in there many times, and you can see above the dome there is a tower that you can actually climb to. And I remember counting the steps. There were over 1,700 steps to get to the tower, and this wasn't starting from the bottom, from the ground floor. This was much higher up. So moving on to Westminster Abbey, it's an Anglican church that has been around for more than 1,000 years. All but 2 monarchs have been buried there since 1066. So all the kings and queens that have died in the past have been buried there. And I think it was there that Prince William married Catherine in Westminster Abbey. It's a huge church. Again, a must see if you ever visit London. Moving on. Let me just add, it was built as a shrine to King Edward the Confessor by Henry III in 1245. And that's the inside of the church, and you see that what we're looking at are the choir pews with the lanterns for when they're singing. And it has been used in every coronation of every monarch since 1066. Hampton Court. Hampton Court, and I'll start by saying, is about 50 yards away from where I live, Hampton Court. And when I tell people I live at Hampton Court, they think I live in the palace. I don't live in the palace, just outside the palace over the road. But it was built by Cardinal Wolsey, Cardinal Wolsey, for his family. However, he fell out of favor with Henry VIII, which is why we can see a picture there of Henry VIII. Henry VIII had the 6 wives, and he also killed some of them to allow himself to marry these wives. And it was through Henry VIII that the Church of England came about. Prior to Henry VIII, the Catholic Church was the only church that was in England. But because Henry VIII wanted to get divorced and the Catholic Church wouldn't allow it, he decided to start his own church, the Church of England. And he managed to have 6 wives. I was saying that Cardinal Wolsey had Hampton Court built for himself, but he fell out of favor with Henry VIII and gave the palace to Henry VIII. It so happens, and it is rumored, that 2 years later, Henry VIII had Cardinal Wolsey killed because he wasn't happy with him. It is also rumored there that underneath the palace and along the roads leading to the palace, there are tunnels that are big enough to take carriages. And this is how Henry VIII would have his mistresses brought to the palace in secret. So, yes. Now, moving on to...
Oh, okay, yeah, you covered that already.
Oh, yes, okay, no, let me mention the maze. You can see you're looking at a maze there, and that's at the palace, and it costs about £5 to go in, and you can try and find your way out the maze. I'm going to tell you a secret you probably won't remember if you ever visit. The way to get in and out easily is to keep to the left all the way, and then you will find your way out easily. So now we're on to the foot tunnel. So this foot tunnel was built in order to allow...
I don't know where that's coming from. Hold on, let me see where it's coming from. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, it is a foot tunnel that runs under the Thames from one side of the Thames to the other side of the Thames. And it's a place that I actually really enjoy going because I'm just fascinated that I can walk under the River Thames. It was originally built to allow the workers to get from one side, from South London, Southeast London, to working in the Docklands. It is used by approximately 4,000 people each day, although quite frankly, every time I've been there, I've never really seen anybody using it. And you can, when you actually walk through it, you can actually see walking down the Thames. So Yvonne, you say you love the Thames.
Lots of restaurants along that area.
Yes, Greenwich. Yes, and we'll go on to talking a bit about what else is in the area.
Sure.
So this is one of the domes. This is how you get down to the tunnel to walk, and there's a lift there, or you can use the steps to get there. And I just find it so fascinating, as I never knew that it was supposed to be one of the haunted places in London, but it's just fascinating to walk under the Thames. It was built in 1215 and in cast iron, and it's 50 feet beneath the Thames. And it was built to replace a ferry service that was unreliable.
Hmm.
So Yvonne, you were there when? Okay, so we're moving on to the Cutty Sark.
That ship was there. I remember
Yes.
this ship. And I went to the place where time began. You know, there's that Greenwich timeline. I got
That's
pictures
right.
of me.
Yes. Yeah, we will be moving on to that. Yes. So yeah, Greenwich is a very important part of the world. But what you're looking at is called the Cutty Sark, and it was a tea clipper. It was built in 1869 as one of the last, but one of the fastest ships to get from China to England with tea. And it was important to get tea delivered quickly.
I'm gonna write hers down for now. I'm in the middle of putting somebody in the system.
Juliet,
The quicker you could get tea from China to England, the more you could actually charge for it. But soon after, shops, yeah, we'll get on to fish and chips, we will, Yvonne. And then shortly after the Cutty Sark was made, they brought in steamships. But if you can see the way that the ship is at the very front, it's very thin at the front, and that aided its speed whilst on the seas. In May 2007, it was having some work done to it, some maintenance work, and somebody had left a burner going, and the ship caught fire. They had to have it completely restored with everything that was original, and it took 5 years. Now, just some interesting facts. So the parts of the ship that we can see above the waterline is constructed from East India teak. Beneath the waterline is rock elm, apparently from America. And the stern and the stern post were teak, and the rudder of the ship, English oak. That's the Cutty Sark. So Greenwich, as I said, very important part of the world. We have the Royal Observatory there. Also, there is something called the GMT, as even mentioned earlier, which is Greenwich Mean Time. But they're all related. Now, there we go. We're looking at the observatory. Greenwich Mean Time is where the time zones throughout the world, they start there at Greenwich Mean Time. So the Royal Observatory, it was commissioned in 1675 by King Charles II. And it plays a major role in our history of astronomy, the study of the stars and the planets, and navigation, because through the middle runs the prime meridian. And if we talk about longitude, I don't know if you understand it. I don't really understand it. There's a photo of that's supposed to be where the time zone. I'll read it. The time zone is a region of the globe that observes a uniform standard time for legal, commercial, and social purposes. Time zones tend to follow boundaries of countries and their subdivisions because it's convenient for areas in close commercial or other communication to keep to the same time. And you see that line running down the middle, that is where is known as the Greenwich Mean Time. And you can see there it says, I don't know if you can make it out. So Greenwich at the top of the left-hand side, 00 longitude, Montreal 73 degrees, Ottawa 75, Chicago 87, New York 73, and so on. So we're moving on to Oxford Street. Oxford Street is among the world's most grandest and famous shopping venues and based in central London. It boasts a variety of shops for almost any budget. You have Selfridges. I don't know if you've heard about Selfridges. To Primark. Primark, you can buy very, very cheap clothing there. So it caters for almost any budget. It has the latest range of goods, clothing and gifts, and it's said to be the busiest street in the world. And believe you me, it is. You go up there, you're going to get a headache. There's people everywhere. 600,000 people daily use the street. And 30%, and I'm surprised that it is, only 30% come from overseas. But I mean, if you come to London, you got to go shopping in Oxford Street. That's where everybody visits. Harrods. Harrods is located in our Knightsbridge area of London. Knightsbridge is a very expensive residential area. It's currently owned by Qatar. And you see how long that street is, that block is a very long block. And it has a range of over 5,000 goods. It previously was owned by Al Fayed, who was the father of Dodi Fayed. Oh, yes, Dodi Fayed. Dodi Fayed, unfortunately, he was the one that was dating Princess Diana when she died, and he died too. His father owned the building at that time. It is now owned by the state of Qatar and has over 4,000 employees. And it was built in 1849. Harrods Food Shopping, that's what you can see there. You can go there and get every food of fine quality. Again, another must-see place. If you ever visit London, go there and buy something. This is the beauty hall at Harrods. Again, it's not cheap there, I have to say. It isn't cheap. The only time I ever visit, if I visit, is when the sales are on. And then I think I can only, they actually have a department where they have seconds of things. So for example, you know, if one of their bags hasn't been made properly, you can go there and get a bargain. And yes, you can see it's very extensive. It's got such a huge range, Harrods, and it's lit up at night. So we're back to Oxford Street. This is Oxford Circus Station, which is, we call it the Tube. Another word is the subway. I think you used the word subway that runs underground. Yeah, we call it the Tube in England. And very busy station with 4 exits, one at each corner of the road. I was afraid of it. Hyde Park, Speaker's Corner. What you're seeing there is someone that is speaking, and he's speaking to the crowds of people. So if you can talk on any subject that you want to. You might have 3 people in front of you, you might have 300 people in front of you, depending on what you're talking about. As I said, it has turned into a playground for fanatics, but yes, it's freedom of speech. You can go there and talk about any subject you would want to in Hyde Park, Speaker's Corner. We're now looking at Westminster Bridge, and in the background you've got Big Ben. Westminster Bridge is is the oldest bridge across the River Thames, and it shares the name with Westminster Palace, the Westminster Abbey, and is 1 mile away from the city. Big Ben, and what you're looking at there are some of the London buses and the Houses of Parliament. You can see with those towers, which is where our Parliament is held. So I think yours is at, I'm not sure if it's the White House. I think, I don't know actually. Am I saying the right thing?
It's located the House and the Senate. It's right
Oh,
there.
the Senate. And are they in the White House? Yes,
No,
they are. After January 6th, I should know
Yeah.
that.
they're
yes.
around in the same area.
Yes.
but not
Okay.
in the
in the same
actual
area.
house.
Yes. And that's where all our politicians meet. It's been around for a very long time and needs a lot of work on it, because it's they have been talking for some years to move Parliament to the north of England, because they need to vacate the Houses of Parliament to have work done in it. We can see the see again too, even in this picture, you can see Big Ben. And Big Ben was not working for about 3 years whilst they were working on it. They were refurbing it. Now we've moved on to London transport. The capital has one of the busiest, extensive and largest networks of public transport in the world. Buses, streetcars, subway mode, so that's the tube, and commuter trains, all operated by an agency called Transport for London. And you also saw there's a picture of a London taxi there. Now, the people of London, if you can see by that pound stores, Yvonne, yes, we've got pound stores, a bit like you've got is it dime stores or something you call them, or dollar stores?
Dollar stores.
Dollar stores, yes. Are you looking at that picture? You see there's people of so many different races. One of the things that people do say that's so good about London is that you can be absolutely who you want to be, and no one is going to look at you strangely or question why you're wearing that or why you've got your hair like that. Everybody does their own thing in London, and that's one of the huge advantages about London. Yeah, what have we got here? Yes, we've got different areas of London, as Islington or Highgate, but used to be small towns. It now has a population of 7 million. When I was a child, it was 6 million. So it's grown by 1 million people coming from all over the globe. Just something I remembered about when we were looking at the slide about Hyde Park. Hyde Park, it has to one side of Hyde Park, it has a road, Hyde Park Lane, and it has 4 lanes of traffic running up, and all the people, the tourists come and they drive on that road, and it's supposed to be one of the worst roads to drive on in London because people don't know what they're doing on it. We're on to food now. Right, we've got 2 photographs there. Can anyone tell me what they can see?
A proper British breakfast.
Correct.
Fish and
Absolutely.
chips.
Sorry, say that bit again.
On the right is a proper British breakfast. Beans, bangs and all, and fish and chips.
Correct. The one on the right, I know if you ever are asked, you're staying anywhere and you want a breakfast like that, you tell them, I want the works. The works. Mean I want everything. And and you will get everything. And that's, we call that is our traditional breakfast.
That's a lot.
On the left is another English traditional English meal, fish and chips, and we tend to eat fish and chips on a Friday, but we'll eat it any day of the week. But that's our day for having fish and chips.
Vanilla, what is that black thing on the right? What is that on the plate? What looks like is that a fruit?
It's black pudding.
Oh, black pudding.
Black pudding.
And what
Do you
is
know
that?
black
What
pudding?
does that consist of?
Drips of beef.
Yes, and it's made with the blood from the cow. The blood from the cow, which is why you've got that darkness there. It might have like grains of rice in it. And I mean, I love black pudding. I do, I love it. And also you remember, Tetty, black pudding from Guyana?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not quite the same as that black pudding, but it's very similar, and it's made with cow's blood. Very nice.
I don't think
very
I'd like that.
No.
It's very tasty.
Yorkshire pudding is better.
Lychee pudding, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, right. Now we've moved on to one of my favourite topics, pub. That's what we are, our drinking dens. You know, we English, we love a pub. That's where you can go and just talk to people, talk to anybody. You go, you know, we have got a pint of beer. Everybody's very friendly, and we just like a traditional pub, which we call spit and sawdust, because we used to have on the floors sawdust on the floor, but now they've made them really fancy. As you can see the floor, yes, exactly. I'm looking at that picture closely. There is sawdust on that floor. A traditional pub, you know, and as I say, usually when you finish work, you pop into the pub for your pint and for a natter.
This is the oldest pub.
This is the oldest pub. Oh, in Fleet Street. Fleet Street is where all the newspapers are. Is that your Wall Street? Where are your papers, your newspapers?
Wall Street it would be.
Okay, yes. So your Wall Street is our Fleet Street. Now we're looking at Stonehenge.
Which
Stonehenge.
is the last one. Which is
I went
That's
there
right.
too.
So you've been there as well. Oh, you've been
Yes.
all over, haven't you? You have
Yes.
to tell us where you've been that we haven't mentioned.
The British Museum.
Okay, yes, yes.
Yeah, trying to think somewhere else. I did go to a pub where they had on a Sunday, they had great beef meals. I saw lots of gypsies too.
Really? Okay,
Some
that's
Romas.
interesting.
Some Romas. They call them Romas.
Yeah, we call them, okay, we call them gypsies, or yes, roaming people.
Yeah, but the Stonehenge, we were on a bus, we came out and I saw sheep and things out in the area. I saw suburban areas. I think there's one place where the Beatles made famous, the crossing. I can't remember the name of it, but it went to a farmer's market and I saw all kinds of goods. Was not too, I'm trying to think of some kind of street that the Beatles made famous.
Okay, and you're right. It's gone for me right at the moment. That's in
Abbey
London.
Road.
That's it.
That's
Abbey Road.
Abbey,
Yes.
I went to Abbey Road and I took pictures. I saw chickens hanging up, not like chickens here, but they were actually like the neck and stuff, like I saw when I was in China. They had that, and it was great. And I went to a suburban area. I saw what they call council houses.
Yes.
So I
Social
went to,
housing.
I went to people's. I fortunate enough, I had a friend who was living there that took my party around, and so we saw where people lived. I went to the grocery stores and saw where they shopped. One thing about the pubs is people are drinking outside. No big deal about drinking outside. You might see someone with a bottle of wine on the side like that. Very friendly. And I went to another area that had lots of plays. I stayed in Windsor, but we went, and it's not paid. There's a place that you can go and you can get half price tickets to plays and stuff. But I'm trying to think of it. It's not the Wizard of Oz, but I saw this other, I've seen plays while I was there because it was cheaper to see plays in London than it is in the States.
So I've heard.
And they asked you they asked me as a senior, what did I want to pay? So that was unusual for me to hear that, but I did that. I'm trying to think of the name of the thing. It was it was not the Wizard of Oz, it was something else, but it was a great show. And there was a place you could go to actually get these low cost tickets. And
yes.
we traveled on the transport, those double buses, they were fantastic. We got off one place, had a drink, and then what happened, we walked down the street and the traffic was so slow that we could get on our bus. Again, the same bus.
Yeah. What you're saying is traffic is very bad in London, and it's true. Well, thank you for that, Yvonne. You've really been around, haven't you? You know London very well.
Very well, but you got to have lunch at Harrods. I mean, that was great. Lunch
you've got
there.
to have what? Sorry, say that again.
I had a meal at Harrods. because they have a
Harrods.
restaurant.
Oh, you were able to
they
eat
have-
there. Very.
My friend was very upset. I put it in chat because I had a backpack with me and we were passing it through one room that had a lot of crystal on it. And she was afraid that I was going to knock some of this very expensive crystal away. But they had other breakfast foods too. There was something like a sandwich with a sausage, it was big and thick. So yeah, and thank God for the colonies, because I mean, Indian food, very good.
Yeah. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Thank you for that, Yvonne. You're right though. Curry is the most popular dish in the UK. Curry, Indian food. The white people love curries because it's spicy, it's tasteful. And whilst fish and chips is nice, it doesn't have that much flavor, especially when you compare it with a curry. And usually one of the things that, especially the men, we call them yobs, the yobbish men, the ones that maybe cause a bit of trouble on a Friday night. They go to the pub, get too drunk, and then go and have a vindaloo. And maybe after that they might cause a bit of trouble.
You didn't mention Mandela's statue is near the Parliament.
You can blame me for that, Yvonne.
Okay, you made the pictures. Okay, you're making me want to take my pictures out now to do a presentation.
Okay,
Maybe a
so
parent.
this is the beginning of Travel Tuesdays. This is where I want you to see how you can do it. You get those slides, I will help you make them, and you get a $50 stipend. So please respond an email to me saying you want to show. And even if you don't have pictures of the places that you visited, go online and grab them. I didn't get my pictures from London. I actually went online and grabbed them from there. I knew what I was looking for. And so you know where you've been, you can go and grab those same images on the internet.
There
Okay,
you go, Yvonne.
so please volunteer to share some of your interests, whether it's travel or a special topic. And so we can all get more acquainted, sharing ideas.
Yeah.
We've reached to that point now. Do you have any questions for Fenella before she goes? Any questions?
Yes, I have a question, Miss Fenella.
Hi, Brenda.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Look, I see where Teresa gets that accent. When I said Sarah's British,
Now, forgive me, Brenda. I did not call you Miss Brenda because we don't do that in England.
Okay.
But thank you. It's very, very kind of you. Thank you.
Oh,
But please go ahead. What is it you want to say?
I wanted to ask about the currency. How is the currency rate compared to American money?
Right
is it?
now, it's in a mess. Go ahead and tell them, Jane.
Oh,
It's in
Yeah,
a
yeah.
mess.
It wouldn't
Okay.
pay for me to come and visit. It's so bad. It is
Okay.
really bad. It's great for you to come and visit, but for me to come and visit you, I'm not going to get much back for my money.
oh,
And I remember a time when it was like I would get $1.83 for £1.
Mhm.
And now
Okay.
it's like $1.20 for my pound, if that.
Yesterday, it was at 114. When I first came to this country, I was getting about $2 to £1 when I first
You're right.
came here. Yeah. So
This
now
is the
it's
best
at
time to go to Europe.
This is the best time for us Americans to travel. In fact, I'm even thinking of taking some of my savings and purchasing some pounds now. This is the best time, because if I'm going to go there, which is what I do, I call it kind of home, because that's where my siblings are, my parents buried there.
okay.
It's always best for me to always have pounds. So I'm going to go ahead right now and buy some pounds because they said it's lowest value.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Talk
Please,
about
come now.
Okay.
the post office. Talk about the post office.
Well, let's answer some questions. We've got some hands up first. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Nice meeting you for the first time.
Yeah, nice
Very,
meeting you too.
very
Thank
nice.
you.
Okay, all right. I have several questions. I had to write them on the cereal box. because I didn't want to leave because it's so interesting. The first thing you said about the airport when you first started off, you
Yes.
said it has 2 runways,
Yes,
just 2. It
they
should be
want to
more.
build a third. They've been trying to build a third one, but the locals have been objecting because unlike America, we don't have that much space, especially in London, and the planes are going over so they haven't as yet been given permission to build a third, but only 2.
Oh, okay, but it's a lot of traffic coming in and out, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Apparently a plane leaves every 30 seconds on average.
Wow. So if you live in that area, it's kind of
Not good.
disruptive to your sleep and whatnot.
That's
Oh.
right. And actually where my home is, they do change the flight path every so often. And at one point I will have planes coming over me when I'm under the flight path. Yeah.
Hey, okay. And the next question I had was, you said Henry VIII, right? So it was only one wife at a time, right? So when he wanted to get another wife, he would. Did they say anyway he got rid of the wives that he had previously?
Yes. He had their heads chopped off.
Oh no.
Mm-mm.
That
Yes.
was deliberate, right?
Mhm. Because he wanted
Deliberately.
to remarry, and at the time the Catholic Church wouldn't allow it. So he came up with some bogus accusation and had them, and had them killed.
So maybe he said they cheated on him or something, and no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one can look these up. I'm sorry, I don't have
Wow.
the facts, but you
That's
look it up.
where, right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, they made a song about him too, right? Henry VIII. I'm Henry VIII. I am. I've been
That's
married
right.
7 times before, something like that. But and then the next question I had, I know you said if you go into a maze, you keep to the left. So when you first go in, that left turn, and you can find your way out just going to the left.
That's right. Just
Straight
keep
to the left.
going left, and you'll be able to get out easily.
Right. Okay. Because I was thinking about The Shining, the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's really wild. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know
the
about
last-
the one in The Shining, but I only know about the one at Hampton Court.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's starring what's his name? I forget, but it's a very popular.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah,
Jack
Jack
Nicholson.
Nicholson. Yeah, and everybody was just lost in the maze. He couldn't get
Yeah,
out.
scary.
It was in the wintertime, and he just froze in the maze.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Scary.
And the last question. I'm an American, right? And I drive, but from what I understand, when you're over in England driving, the steering wheel is on the left-hand side or the other side, and then everybody is driving on the wrong side of the road.
No. Let me correct you. You're driving on the wrong side of the road.
Oh,
Okay. I like that. And, well, I would have to take a while to get used to that,
It does. I usually adjust very quickly because on the continent, in Europe, they also drive on the wrong side of the road like yourselves. And so, it normally takes me about 15 minutes to adjust, but we're all different.
Yeah, so you all don't have right turn on red, it's left turn on red.
No, no.
We don't even have that.
Don't have that. Okay.
We don't have those, what you have, where a special light to turn left. Oh, we don't have that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
You've just got to sit there.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you, I went to Nassau, and at the airport, the cab picked us up, and it was speeding through the streets trying to get to the hotel to go back and pick up other people, and they were driving. I say it was the wrong side of the road, and the steering wheel was on the wrong side, and he was speeding, and I was just holding on because I had never seen anything like that before.
There you go. Well, you're going to come and do it again. Come and do it again, Michael.
Okay,
But thank you very much.
You're
You're
welcome.
very welcome.
we've got Nellie, who's been waiting patiently.
Hi, Nellie.
Melly, you need to unmute. You need to find a
I'm,
microphone.
oh,
There you
now
go.
it's there. Okay.
Hi,
Thank you.
Nellie.
Oh, hi. This has been such a wonderful thing, but I have two concerns, questions rather. It doesn't seem as if it's easy if you're handicapped or disabled to get around. What's the difficulty there? And the second question is, the facilities for restroom. How easy or difficult is that? And this would be for most of the older people.
How long ago are you thinking of? Because it used to
Well,
be.
I'm 80 and I've never
Mhm.
been there before,
Okay.
but
all
my
right.
daughter keeps saying we're going to go. So hopefully sometime soon. And I'm not a great walker, but I understand they have a lot of cobblestones. So I'm
Yes.
just wondering the difficulties that I would face.
Things are much easier now because there are laws in place that say that every restaurant that has to have, you call it restroom, we just call it the toilet or lavatory, has to have a restroom that can take a wheelchair. Every restaurant by law, every public place now by law has to have somewhere for a wheelchair to be able to go. The
Yes.
streets with cobbles tend to be the older streets. You can avoid them. You can avoid them. They tend to be the older streets. But yes, even getting on transport now, you've got to be able to get on transport as well. So I think you'll find that things aren't that difficult, Nellie, getting
Oh,
around.
wonderful.
The taxis
Wonderful.
also.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're
The
welcome.
taxis, the black.
Oh, yes,
taxis
the
accommodate
taxis again.
wheelchairs.
They've got to be able to take,
Wheelchairs.
it's all about accessibility now for
Yeah.
people with disabilities.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you
So
so
you can
much.
come.
I'll be looking forward to it. I am.
Good. Let me know when you're coming.
I will. Okay.
So we've got Michael, who's also been waiting patiently. Go ahead and unmute, Michael.
Yes, greetings. I'm the other Michael. Michael,
Okay.
Charles.
Yes, Michael, you stay on the right side of the road because we are, they do on the left. But anyway, yes, I would like to ask one question. The castle that you are across from, can you see that castle from outside your home window?
The palace, Hampton Court Palace, no. I would have to walk 50 yards to the bottom of the road and is the river. And then on the other side of the river are the gates to the palace. So I can't see it from my house, but if I walk 50 yards, I'll be able to see it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Finish, Michael?
Yes.
So we'll have Diane Leach, unmute.
Hi, Diane.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good,
What-
thank you. How are you?
Just fine, thank you. What I wanted to know was, is the rent, I have problems speaking. Is the rent expensive there, you know?
The rent.
Do you
The
all
rent.
have apartments like we do?
We do, and it's very, very expensive. London is so expensive because, it's a place that people come from all over the world. Also because property prices are constantly increasing. We have many people from across the world that will just buy up property as an investment. It's very expensive. And I've just been reading even over the last few days how rents are, we've got this cost of living crisis that's going on and rents are still going up all the time. It's really bad, really, really bad.
Well, is the food expensive too?
So you're talking about food in a restaurant or just to go grocery shopping?
both places.
Actually, yes, even grocery shopping is, everything is increasing at the moment because of this war in Ukraine.
Right.
But yes, to go to a restaurant, yes, very expensive. And my experience is, if I want to eat some good food, I will not go to London unless, I'm going to somewhere that's recommended, because it's kind of like rip-off in London. You get rubbish food and they charge heaps of money for it. So if you want a good meal, it's rare to go into London to get a good meal. You have to be careful where you eat if you don't want to get ripped off.
Thank you. And it's nice meeting you, and I appreciate talking to you.
Oh, thank you, Diane. It was a joy to talk to you too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brenda, unmute. Go ahead and unmute, Brenda.
Hi, it's me again.
Hi,
I
Brenda.
wanted to ask about the weather. Now, a few weeks back, it was very, very hot, here and over in London. So
Yes.
is the weather, has it gotten better or what?
Well, we are currently experiencing thunderstorms, lots and lots of lightning like you've never seen before. And very, very heavy rain, but our gardens need it because we are officially in a drought and we have a hose pipe ban. We are not allowed to use hose pipes.
Oh, okay. So what is that? The water into your homes?
That's right. So yes, the water
Okay.
into the homes are fine, but we're not allowed to wash our cars with hose pipes or water our gardens or fill up our hot tubs or pools or anything. But we started to get rain last week, and it's incredible how much the outside has greened up, whereas it was so dry before. But it's much greener now, and we're still experiencing rain, and we're due to experience rain all this week.
Okay.
So as we say, it's raining cats and dogs.
Well, it's raining here too as well, and we're supposed to get it all this week. Now, because the reason I mentioned that was because I saw on the news where the guards around Buckingham Palace, they have on the big black hats, and they were just sweating profusely, and people were trying to give them water and cool them off.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's that what those hats are made from bear skin.
Yeah.
And those poor men are not allowed to remove anything, and they have to stand completely still. They're not even allowed to turn their eyes or to turn their heads at all.
Right.
So yes, you're right. I couldn't possibly imagine what it was like for them when it was nearly 40 degrees.
Yes.
Wow.
It was terrible because it was hot here as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Great talking to you, Fenella. This was so entertaining and I love it. I want to go there.
You need to come. As I said, when you come, contact me. Let me know when you're coming. And we will hook up, as they say.
Believe me,
Brenda.
she loves to entertain. So
yes, I like to be entertained.
I do. And notice here, I've got my cup of my China cup of tea.
All right.
But I'll be honest with you, I've got a drop of wine in it.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. But you look so fabulous. I love your rings and your earrings. Girl, you got it going on.
They both.
Thank you, Brenda.
Oh
my God.
We've got Raymond, who's been waiting patiently. Go ahead,
Raymond.
Raymond.
Hi.
Unmute, Raymond. Raymond, unmute. His hand is up. I don't know what happened.
Raymond.
All right, we'll go to Nellie again. Nellie's put her hands up again. Go ahead. Raymond is on his way. Go ahead, Raymond.
Hello, Miss Teresa. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Just Sister Taylor, that was quite entertaining. I enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. But I just wanted to know how many days I got.
Oh, no, we're not taking, this is Travel Tuesday. This is not a technical day. Sorry about that. You can find that out when I return, and that will be perhaps on Friday.
Oh, okay.
Today is not a today is a travel day where we just explore what's going on.
Okay, well, that was entertaining. Y'all have a good day. Talk to you later.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Raymond.
Raymond. Thank you,
All right,
Raymond.
we've got Nellie who's had her hands up, and then Denise. Go ahead.
Hi, Nellie again. Hi.
Nellie, you're muted. You need to unmute. Go ahead and unmute Nellie. She's still muted.
And
Go ahead.
let's see. Okay, it's gone now. All right, yes, two quick questions. What would you suggest would be the best month or months to visit? And also, one or two nice towns around London, if London is as crowded as you say it is.
Okay, so months to visit. I suppose I guess you want to come when the weather's better. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're looking at the summer months then. Any time from say May onwards. Because if you
Okay.
come in the middle of the summer, very busy, but we normally have better weather in May. I say better weather, but you know, our summers sometimes only last 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Short summers,
Yes.
but this year we had a really good summer. But try and come between the months of May, June, July, August, September. That's when you'll experience the better weather.
Oh,
And in terms
wonderful.
of towns to visit, so I think Yvonne had already mentioned that Windsor is just outside London, and Windsor is where the other home of the Queen when she's in London, Windsor Castle.
Uh-huh.
That's a really nice town to visit.
Bath.
And
Bath, James.
Bath. I think I actually live just outside London in a place called Surrey. Surrey has some very interesting places to visit. I'll quickly tell you about. We have got a church that was built in the 800s. A woman offered to have herself bricked up in the church to pray for people. Bricked into the church, and she had this little slot of which she was given food. She was only in there a few months, and then she wanted to come out, but they wouldn't let her out.
Wow.
They wouldn't let her out because she volunteered to go inside, and she had to stay in there for a whole year. Now this is in a little village called Shear in Surrey, and this is a place I like to take people because it's very pretty, but just outside London in Surrey. So Shear and Windsor.
Thank you so much. You've been so informative. It's a delightful day listening to you.
Oh, thank you, Nellie. That's very kind, and it's a real pleasure to talk to you too, also to all of you. Thank you.
We've got Denise Jackson. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hi, Denise.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good and blessed. I had two questions. My first one was, how's the crime there? I hope it's not like it is here in DC. And the second one, the COVID and the monkeypox. how's it there?
Okay, so crime, there are certain areas of London, yes, where crime is, one could say, it's quite bad. And then in fact, we've looked at Oxford Street. You've got to be careful on Oxford Street for getting your pocket picked. Nothing is going to happen to you violently, but someone is going to try and take your purse, or if you're not careful. And it unfortunately is just one of those areas. They'll try and take your handbag or distract you to steal your purse from you. But you just keep your handbag really close to you and you'll be fine. With regards to COVID, we're kind of over the COVID now, not completely over it, but certainly we've been through the worst of COVID, and now people don't wear masks anymore, and we're up close with each other. We're in the theatres, in the cinemas, and because it's not bad anymore. The monkeypox, I've been reading about this monkeypox, and I did read something that it was only certain members of the community that were being affected by it, but it's nothing certainly for anyone. I'm not sure exactly how it's contracted, and nothing to worry about.
Oh, okay.
Does that answer your questions?
Yes, that did. I know also here in DC, we have Lyft and Uber rides. Do y'all have that?
You've got what, sorry?
Lyft and Uber rides.
Oh yes, we've got Uber here. Yes, and we're so thankful we've got Uber because the black taxis are really expensive. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, we've got Ubers. So you
Oh,
can use them, bring your app and use them here when you come.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're
So,
welcome. Denise.
Fenella, do you have time for 2 more questions? Because
Yeah.
it's way past your 2 o'clock hour.
Yeah, no, let's go. I'm being taken out to dinner, but they're coming in. I've got 8 minutes, so go ahead.
Okay, so we've got Tawana. Go ahead.
Tawana, hi Tawana.
Well, how you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Nice to meet you and your sister here too. I've been out for a while. But my question is, I want to get hold to some of that black pudding.
Uh-huh. You
I
like the sound of the black
told me
pudding?
5 years ago, for a wedding, but I was too scared.
Okay, which one was it? Was it like the Guyanese black pudding or like the English black pudding? Which one?
I want the one that you had on that plate that was made out of cow blood.
Okay, all right, that black pudding. Okay, maybe Teresa and I can talk about how we can get you some black pudding.
I would love to have some of that.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm so glad to meet you. And all the presentation was beautiful. I loved it.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll see what we can do about getting you this black pudding.
Oh, yes. The black pudding is fake black pudding down here. It's too, it ain't, it's just black. Unless someone had to go online and figure out how to make it.
Okay. That's possible. Maybe we send you a recipe.
Miss Fenella, is Gatwick far removed from the city? Gatwick Airport?
Gatwick.
It's 25 miles from the city, and it is, let's see, if you were to get in a taxi, a car ride, it would probably, if you want to get to central London, it's probably an hour. It's probably about an hour. So depending on the time of day.
It's much closer. Heathrow is much closer.
Yes, that's right. Heathrow is much closer, but it's not very nice there. But it is almost central London, Heathrow. So, I'd always say go to Gatwick. It's much nicer.
Right. We've got Mr. Jolet. He's had his hands up for a while.
Mr. Jolet, hello.
Yeah. Jolet, are you there? Hello.
Well, good afternoon. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
How are you?
How are you?
Hello. Oh, I'm wonderful. When you said you were from Surrey, it reminds me of Virginia, a place that has a lot of English overtones, and they have a Surrey County and a Surrey City there. Have you ever been there?
I've never been. I've never been to that part, but I think I am aware of it. Virginia, yes, having a Surrey, and apparently, isn't the weather supposed to be quite similar to here as well? Is that right?
Well, kind of now, because I just got off the phone talking to somebody across the pond earlier before the call, and we were laughing. You guys normally don't have air conditioners there. Next year, that's going to be a very hot item. And I listened to you talking about how short the summer season was, but now that it's burning up there, it's something that's going to really be of interest.
Well, I can only hope that next year we have a similar summer, but it's unlikely that it's going to happen. This is it's very rare we have hot summers, very rare.
Yeah, but we haven't been good stewards of the earth, and
you're right.
Since we're being so bad about it globally, I think that that's going to be a challenge for you not to have another one, and even a hotter one. I do have one other quick question. Yes. Now, some of my friends tell me that they don't live in London proper. There are a bunch of communities that are outside. I live in the district, so we border Maryland. And so what are some of the more predominantly Afrocentric or minorities around London?
Oh my goodness.
Just a few.
North London, there's South London, North and South London, as well as East London. We grew up in South London, and that was pretty much integrated.
Yeah.
And
you'll
our
find
schools
everybody.
were integrated.
Now, what about
I get it.
outside of London? And that's why I was
Yes,
talking about
yes, yes.
being a
We have
DMV.
partnerships
Even
with full
though I'm
times,
in
but
Washington, Silver Spring, or
I am
Arlington.
participating.
Oh, that's
Sorry, could
somebody
you
else.
repeat?
That's somebody else chiming in.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
sorry,
just
just
needed
repeat that question, please.
Yeah,
My question was, what are some of the other heavily minority places that are outside of London? Now, your
Birmingham.
sister, you spoke about northern and southern London, but you know, whenever I go to a place, the first thing I want to do is take the I want to take the indigenous route. I don't want to go the tour route. I want to see how people live and what they have to deal with. And then, and it's interesting you mentioned about the pickpockets, because from my international travels, everybody's like, well, why are you going there? It's a little unsavory. I'm like, they steal in DC, they steal in Egypt, they steal in London. You have to be aware of your surroundings and what's going on. That's not going to stop me from going out here. And then and if I am a little lax, then I take a little bit of money, but I don't take that passport, because you know how important that is, and anybody will cut your neck off for that.
So I would say Birmingham is a good location. That's pretty diverse.
Okay.
Yes, yes. There's a place, it is in London, but on the outskirts of London, called Southall, and they call that Little India because it's full of Asians.
Yeah, that's the one.
And then there's another area close
yeah,
to where I am.
Birmingham and
Yes, called a New Malden, and it's full of Koreans. There are more Koreans there than there is the only place outside Korea that has more Koreans. And that's New Malden, near me. But I just want to answer Yvonne's question about visas to come to England.
Yeah, we've got one more question.
They said, "Welcome to our world." I'm not gonna keep it. I'm not gonna keep it. Oh yes, I'm not gonna keep it, because you said you're soon to get dinner, and even if I sent it to you, it would take a long while to get it across the pond. But thank you, very enjoyable.
Yeah,
You're
I want to
very
ask a question about the visas, because I think you're out of the EU now. And when I came there, I spent 2 weeks there, and I went 2 weeks to France. Do I have to get different visas? Because when I was in Europe before, I didn't have to do that.
You know, the truth is,
because of the EU, is a difference.
I can tell you what's going to happen. So for England, you'll just going there, you get 6 months on your passport. If you want to cross over the channel and go into France and those places, you would want to stop at the American, French
embassy
and get that, because since we did the BRICS thing, we don't have the what is called back and forth, like with no passport.
Okay.
Now have your passport.
That's why I was interested in what had changed. Thank you.
So that's what's changed when we did the BRICS.
And the train still goes to goes across the
goes across the channel at a very high speed. You could still take your vehicles on the ferry.
See, sorry, I've got to go now.
All right.
Bye-bye.
So can everyone say goodbye?
Thank you.
Daniela?
Goodbye.
Thank you. It's a joy to talk to all of you.
Really nice
See me.
Goodbye,
Fadela.
interested in
Goodbye.
everything.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Enjoy your dinner.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Teresa, will you get her to come back again?
Well, this is her second time, but I could get her to come back again.
Teresa, that was such a treat.
Yes.
To have a
Yes.
Wonderful.
I loved it.
So we usually
Yes.
do this. We do this in the fall, and like I said, I'd like for some of you to do this also. Share a place of interest that you would like to talk about. You share. Keep that in mind. Send me an email if you'd like to do that. But thank you. You're also, I don't know what to say. I'm proud of all of you. Very proud of you.
Miss Teresa,
Yes.
what made you come to DC?
Well, that's a very good question.
A man.
No, that
No,
was it.
man, no.
No. How did I end up in these? Oh, I came to go to school. I went to school. I went to two schools there. I went to George Mason. I did computer, I did computer, well, certain computer certifications. And I also attended just a couple courses at UDC. But when I first came to this country, I didn't come to the East Coast. I went to the West Coast. And I lived here for a while.
Right. So how
But I
often?
prefer the East Coast to the West Coast.
Now
How
you just love it. You just love it.
Yes, I love DC. I keep coming back to DC. So I've made like 3 different returns to DC since I left DC.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
And my
nice.
network is in DC. My network is built there. Because I
This
attended
don't
school
fit
there.
in Southeast.
Miss James, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Did you say you're in DC now, or are you in Atlanta?
I'm actually in Orlando as we speak.
Orlando, Florida.
Just tease us. Just tease us.
Because one time you said you were, I thought you said you were in Atlanta.
Yeah, I live in 2 locations. I have a home in Orlando and I have a home in Georgia.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Okay.
Thank
What
you.
part of Georgia?
What part? A place called Grayson.
Okay.
Teresa, I want to say, somebody mentioned Virginia, and you know, that was where the first settlers came from the UK to the US before, you know, the Revolutionary War and all. And there are a lot of places in Virginia. My family is from Northumberland County, which is named after a place in the UK. So I have not done it, but someone who's familiar with Virginia, especially what's called the Northern Neck, and where Madison and George Washington and the first settlers came, there are a lot of institutions that are really replicas, and they still maintain, and the counties are named in many instances after places in the UK. So that would be a very interesting presentation for someone to give. We don't have the pictures, you know, but there are pictures online of different places that are directly, you know, replications of what you can find in London and the UK in general.
Okay, so someone think about that. Think about that. Talk about Virginia and the English settlers.
Yes.
I will train you how to create the slides so you don't have to worry about that.
All we have to do is get the pictures. Yeah, we can get the pictures.
Okay, so yes, so please contact me if you'd like to do that. I'll be more than happy to assist you with that. Thank you, Yvonne. That's a beautiful suggestion.
Thank you.
Yes.
Miss Teresa, this is Durban, Washington, and I want to ask you to look out for the email that I sent.
I got it. I responded
to
you
it
this morning saying I will be sending you, I'll be following up with details.
Oh, God bless you. I really appreciate that. And your sister is off the chain, as they say. She has to come back. She has to come back. And the one that spoke with us on, what is it, Death and Dying? Was that the title?
Yes.
Oh my gracious. That was, you just don't know how valuable that was.
They're all so gracious, so gracious.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, I am pleading with, well, I mentioned it to Lou, my boss, about that Death and Dying, how it was critical and informative for most, in fact, all of you.
Yes, all of us.
And that we should at least have it at least once every quarter, at least 4 times a year, because we all can benefit from it. There's a lot of healing that needs to take place. And as long as
it took place that day.
Yeah, we need to continue that healing process.
And on depression also, session on depression.
Yes, so I will keep that in mind. I am planning my fall topics. I met with the interest group this morning virtually, and we talked about what other areas that we can get presented on Thursdays. So we're working on that. Okay.
Thank you. You're the best.
mental health.
Yes.
Mental health, yes, very
Yes.
important. So again, I'd like to thank all you young and lovely people. I'll
You are
see you.
yes.
You wouldn't see me tomorrow because I'm off, but Thursday we have Cyber Senior on Thursday. Tune in for that because they also have some very interesting topics on applications, how it's using your device and apps. And then of course, on Friday, you will see me. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Miss Teresa,
All
Miss
right, do
Teresa.
you have any more
Yes.
sisters that can talk with us?
Pardon me? I didn't get that question.
You have any more sisters that can talk with us?
Well, actually, my mother was blessed with 5 girls and 5 boys.
Oh my Lord
Oh.
Jesus.
Yes.
Oh,
My
she was a great
And
woman.
we're all well, and yeah, we're all well. We still have a few living in England, but we've got some living here. There are 3 of us here in the Florida area.
What number are you?
What number? I'm number 7.
You number 7? Oh, baby.
Lucky 7. Lucky 7.
Well, maybe I got the wrong child because my son has 16.
Ah,
I'm number 3.
okay. Wow, 16.
No, I have
Okay,
27
16.
grand.
Keep going. Miss Teresa, this is Durbin, Washington again. You see where I attempted to do a screen background or Zoom
I
background,
see it.
and it didn't come out right. You know, it's funny. If you can look at it and tell what's wrong, if you drop a note to me, I'd appreciate
It's
it.
slanted because I can see how the image in the back is slanted compared to the cabinets above your head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I can help you improve it.
Yes, ma'am, please. That's
We
what
can
I
do
think.
that. Okay,
It's too
guys.
close to me. It should be background like everybody else's is background, but
You're
that's
right.
not background. It's right
It's the way
beside
you
me.
took- It's the way you took the image. So we'd have to make
Oh.
the image again. Yes, it's the way the image.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. God
Okay,
bless
then.
you.
God
Have a
bless
good
all
one.
of
Oh,
you. Have a
Teresa.
All right, see
wonderful
y'all
Carolyn.
tomorrow.
All right.
Oh,
Take
thank you.
care.
Nice
Bye,
comments
ladies.
you sent to
See you
me.
tomorrow.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Right.
Thank you,
Have a
everyone.
nice evening,
You're
everybody.
welcome.
Okay.
See you all tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Be safe now.
Hi, Jennifer. Good to see
Hi,
you,
hi, how
Jennifer.
you doing?
Good. You feeling
Bye,
well?
everybody.
Good.
Yes, I'm up.
Have a blessed week.
I've been here.
Thank you.
Lord,
Okay.
it's
I enjoyed
You
it.
too.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.